I know people are talking about that, so maybe we'll touch on that in a little bit. 6:49. It's the Link on the Breeze, 93.9. Yes, football. We have more info on football coming up on the show. Football! It's 6:50. Let's go to the K-Wave News Zoom room. Standing by, we have the mayor of Dedito, and she's also the Mayor's Council President, Mayor Melissa Savares. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Commodities.
You guys didn't hear it the first time.
Right on. That's my favorite part of the show, Mayor. How's your coffee?
It's good.
Good. Right on.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, and we'll just get right in. We want to bring you on, of course, to kind of get an update on all the things the Mayor's Council has going on during this PCOR 1 lockdown, because it's been a little bit since we talked to you. So what do the people, we'll start in your village, people of Dedito, big village, a lot of people. What's the most important thing they need to know this morning?
Well, we've been getting a lot of calls about food commodities, Chris and Free. But of course, that's all dependent on delivery from the different support resources that we have. And this week, I believe there are other villages that are doing. So all the villages receive food commodity, and we have schedules. So ours was 2 Fridays ago with Agana Heights. And then last week we had other villages, some of the central and southern villages had commodities. So based on food commodities, it's all dependent on our partners out there, GDOE, Pacific Unlimited. And I know there's one more organization that's in the process of applying for a USDA food commodity grant. So that's all pending the receipt. Several of us continue to do white goods removal. Some vendors have closed because of PCOR 1. So the disposal of these items are on hold until such time that those vendors are open. I know right now several villages are moving smaller stuff like electronics and I believe tires. So other stuff, bulky stuff, vehicles, those are on hold until such time that the vendors who receive those items are available and open.
I wanted to ask about the budget. Senators are getting ready to go in this morning. The governor called them in to session after she vetoed the budget bill that they had passed more than a week ago. And there was a provision in there regarding this appropriation that was going to, is it 3G, Chris? 3G?
Yeah, it was 3G.
And so I haven't got a chance to look at her substitute bill, but is there any message you would like to give to senators as they go in to deliberate?
Yeah. Well, the 3G program takes the recycling revolving fund in a different level, where the Center for Island Sustainability through the University of Guam assist in providing areas in the regions, which is north, central, and south, for disposals of recyclable materials, rather than people just leaving it on their yards or waiting for trash pickup, such as tires. They provide what is it called, like tractors or disposal sites in the different regions, so that instead of mayors from the different villages collecting and then bringing all to one central or to several vendors who take these things through the 3G process, it would provide tractors, which are like, storage bins for the recyclers to come and actually get these things, and then turn trash into marketing products. Paper can be used in different ways. They can be made, stuff can be made with the paper, or the shredded paper can be taken to either the pig and chicken farmers. So it takes these items and makes them marketable items or valued items in different aspects, in different ways, where they can be turned into products that can be used in the community, or tires can be made into furniture or planters or trash receptacles. So those, it'll take us more into a central area of receiving stuff rather than just picking it up and taking it and having it bailed and uh, thrown, sent off island for disposal or for recycling in another place. It'll actually take these things, recyclables, and convert them into value-added products here on Guam.
Well, that's a interesting perspective that you have, considering that a lot of your colleagues that we spoke with were vehemently opposed to this particular appropriation and money being taken from the recycling revolving fund. So, thanks for sharing your position, although different from your colleagues.
Yeah. Sabrina and Chris, I want you guys to understand, we have sister city relationships, say in the Philippines, some in Japan, and we've seen how they've taken recyclable items, plastic bottles, tires, and why are we just seeing what our sister cities are doing? Why can't we do it here? And so that's why the concept of taking these recyclables, and rather than just being trash collectors and disposing them, we need to turn them into value-added products. So, let's do what our sister cities are doing, with the training. We can bring, there's many products. We saw, was it last year when they had the Island Sustainability Conference, where a machine, took all these plastic bottles. And do we have enough plastic bottles on Guam? Yes, we do. We have so much that are being disposed. But this machine took plastic bottles and made, stuff that can be used in our communities. They made benches. They made car stoppers, parking lot stoppers. Why are we buying new stuff when we can melt down our plastic bottles, and we had people from CNMI. What are they doing? They're just stockpiling these things as well, throwing it in the landfill. Take these things out of the landfill and let's collectively put all these things together and get an investor who has the machine to come to Guam. They talked about having it cost roughly about, to bring this and setting it up here, roughly over $800,000. But how much does it cost us to ship these things off, and how much are we getting from it? Do we have enough money? I mean, can we collectively, between CNMI and our region and Guam, collect these plastic bottles here on Guam, melt them down, and make products rather than us shipping products such as these things from off island in?
Right on, Mayor. And I've seen that chair you have in your office with the tires, the one that was made out of the tires from, I think, the PI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, several years ago, I brought those in. It cost me more to bring it in than it actually cost me for the chair. Wow. But my concept was, we can start with the tires. We have so much tires out here. Last year during dengue, we collected over 3,000 tires just on Swamp Road. But all those tires, we can start a new cottage industry. We have people who have no skills. But if I even offered, I'll bring the guy from my sister's city relationship from Guimaras here to Guam. It's going to take him 3 to 4 months to train our people. But, that wasn't the priority for the agencies at the time, collectively. But, let's train the trainer. I have a resident here up in the Machananao area. She actually collects tires. She makes planters. She makes trash receptacles. You just put the bags over it, and it's planters. She had a little table, outdoor table. So that whether it's not going to hurt these items when they're out in the patio or out in the yard. And of course, as heavy as they are, they won't fly during windy days.
Mayor, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the COVID and Dedido. Specifically, what's the status on COVID? Are you getting the numbers you need? Are you thinking you need another mass testing? What are people saying in the village?
Yeah. Well, it's, of course, we, over the weekend, I've gotten calls that, there's people gathering in certain areas. And so we work together with our different partners. Some residents have called the Dedido precinct, and, I went to 2 different residences this weekend to kind of like remind them that we're in PCOR 1 and gatherings are not allowed. You know, if it's just people that live in the household, that's fine. But you know, when you have more than 50 people gathered, I mean, even PCOR 1 is saying no more than just who's in the family, who lives in the household. And you know, we see that. You know, we've heard in several weeks ago that it was through funeral gatherings, family rosaries. You know, and I know we have deaths. You know, and people want to support each other. Especially their family members. But you know, we also need to be very, very careful with spreading the virus. And we don't know who has it. You know, sometimes we haven't been tested. I mean, I've been tested 3 different times, but you know, we just got to be careful. I have one staff who was exposed at a family funeral. You know, a rosary, and he's been cleared to come back to work. But you know, we always say be very, very careful, especially because you know, we still make contact with our seniors that are participants in our senior centers. You know, we have Derrida and Estumbo, and you know, for those that ride the bus, my staff is delivering their meals to their doors, and then we have those that drive up and pick up their meals on a daily basis. So you know, the less contact we have with others that would maybe be a risk for us is better, because you know, we are still delivering our meals. All 12 senior centers and adult daycare and dementia are still delivering their meals to their senior participants. Right. So you know, we've been working since the closure to make sure that our seniors continue to get their meals.
Mayor, do you know anything about any of the recent COVID-19 related fatalities that we've had? Anybody from your village? Anything else you can tell us?
Well, you know, it's sad. We had one 64-year-old woman that passed last week. She was a teacher at one of our middle schools in the village, and that's very sad for our school community. She just retired last year, so you know, the school community in that sense is mourning her loss. You know, Mayor Frankie Salas's daughter was also a resident of our village, and you know, she left behind 2 very young children. And you know, we know there's more out there that are still positive. We're just so sad. And yesterday to hear the news about the 10-year-old boy, you know, child. You know, no parent, you know, what more a community wants to hear about a death of a very young member of our community. So, you know, we just continue to pray that this outbreak stops very soon, so that, you know, we see parents teaching their children. The communities come together, the schools continue to pass out the grab and learn packets. Students are doing classes online, you know, so it's very different way of communicating with each other nowadays. But you know, our offices continue to be open for those reapplying, renewing their public assistance programs. You know, some are food stamps, some are through GURA. We take the calls, and all of us, all mayors, 19 villages, take the calls as residents need those documents, and then email it to the respective agencies or the residents as well. So, you know, we continue to work and support the needs of our community.
Mayor, you is your office assisting with the grab and go, the Friday meal pickups at the schools?
What we did is the schools, you know, because all the schools have the meal pickups, and so several of the schools had, you know, they didn't have too many families that came to pick up meals. But what we did is they did call us, and we took meal that were left over. We took to housing areas. My staff took some to Pacific Gardens, honked the horn in the parking lot, and people came out. Because of course, practicing social distancing, families came out and got commodities that were coming from the schools. We went to Swamp Road and Nevermind Road as well. One school actually told us that they were going to go to two of the Gura housings that were not near any of the schools, so that they can just, what we do is we honk the horn and families come out and we just pass out those commodities.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing more and more people? We're in this second surge. I think we're going into 1 month now into this lockdown. Businesses,
Yes.
we keep hearing about businesses that are shutting down, people without jobs, and as you said, you guys are still delivering food. Are you seeing more and more people hurting out there?
What we've done is we actually see more people actually asking where else can they go to get food commodities. And what has happened is we actually tell them to either call Catholic Social Services or Salvation Army. And we do have some churches, some other faith-based organizations, parishes that are also giving food commodities. So we advise them to call their parish or their pastors to see if there are any food distributions in those church groups.
Mm-hmm. As a leader in this community, and the potential that the federal funding, I believe it's going to run out in December. We don't really know how this is all going to truly impact our budget. The economy is just shot right now. What is your greatest fear?
Just the shutdown of our hospitality and our retail services, we see the need of families more so needing assistance. Our fear is that, I don't know, that, like you said, the federal funds are going to run out soon. One thing that we always advise people is, if you haven't applied for food stamp yet, please do so now. There's a lot that have applied for PUA, and they still do their weekly reports. The situation with that is, how long is PUA going to last? Some of them are getting $600 a month now, or a week now, and they're saying they're paying their financial obligations, their rent, their mortgage, their utilities, but there's still other obligations that are needed to meet. They need to meet. And so they're saying that some of them are getting picked up from the emergency employment process through the American Job Center. They're being placed for temporary placement to assist at public health, assist at, I have 6, but they're not there now, right now during PCOR 1, but they're being picked up for temporary placement. Our concern is when the businesses actually close and never open again after the pandemic is lifted, where will these people go? Because their company, the stores, the business, the hotel that they were working in is no longer going to be there for employment. So
Mayor, there's a kind of thought. I feel like there's this thought among our elected leaders that people are okay because they got the PUA, and I beg to differ, and I'm going to ask you, do you think that we need to do another aid program with that CARES Act money?
Yeah, people are not going to be okay because, like I said, the places that they were working at, they were employed at, are closed down and will not open.
Yeah.
Well, it's sobering. Thank you, Mayor. In closing, you had a message for your residents, the people of Guam?
Well, we just continue to be safe, social distance, wear a mask every time you leave your home. That's very, very important. Limit your travel, where you go, what you do, and who you may come in contact with. And if you haven't downloaded the COVID-19 app on your phones or your devices, please do so, because we don't check on these things, but it tells you if somebody next to you or near you, it would activate your device if somebody's near you has a positive test result, because their devices will be activated. So please, let's do everything that we can to help not just ourselves but our communities, and then pray. You know, we all have to come together and pray that this will soon end.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, you're welcome.
Enjoy
Have
your
a good
coffee.
day.
Okay, Esther.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Joe. Deputy Mayor Melissa Savares. Quick break. No, let's just get into it with Dr. We'll go to the KUM News Zoom room where we have standing by Dr. Ho Wen of the Physicians Advisory Group, and he's being joined by Dr. Jolene Uggan, who is leading the COVID-19 response. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Dr. Uggan, for the Guam